All right, guys, we have got our mini preview and season win total predictions here for the San Francisco 49ers. This is episode 27 as we go through the entire NFL. Over under 10.5, minus 142 to the over, plus 116 to the under. We're going to go under here with the San Francisco 49ers, under 10.5. But let's jump into why. It's obviously a really good team, and we'll have to go a little bit more in depth here. Kyle Shanahan's the coach, a really good coach, or a really good play caller at least. He's really conservative still in big moments, big situations against good teams. It kind of keeps other teams in games, it feels like. There's a world here where Shanahan isn't conservative and they blow everybody out of the water all the time, but not the case. And while he continues to be conservative, there will be closer games. Defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, we'll see how this goes. Anybody who comes in here seems to dominate and go on to be an NFL coach. Wilks has done that, and he did his little spell with the Panthers to end the year, and they look like they were playing for him. So we'll see how he does this year, but it is a change. But let's jump into the roster. Brock Purdy, the starter, I feel like whether he's available for week 1 is still up in the air. I know they think he'll be ready, and he says he'll be ready, and all that stuff, but he's not going to participate in the preseason game. He's on and off throwing and stuff like that. Obviously, he's rehabbing and coming back and slowly integrating himself, but will he be able to throw 30 passes in week 1? I'm not sure. Maybe Trey Lance gets a couple starts here and there, or at the beginning of the season. Luckily for them, I guess the easier part of their schedule is kind of at the front after the Pittsburgh game, so we'll see. But there's a world here where Purdy still misses some games, and we'll have to wait and see on that part. Running back room is really good. The biggest problem with it is health. Christian McCaffrey, really good. Health problems. His backup, Mitchell, really, really good. Solid backup. Probably one of the better backups in the league, if you want to call him that. You can probably start other places, but another one who has health issues. Davis Price, the 2-3, whatever him and Mitchell are, is really good, solid. So it's a really good deep room. It's the health that's a problem there. Wide receiver room is pretty good. Debo is an excellent weapon. Missed some time toward the end of last year, and you can see they felt it. Ayuk, good as well. A lot of people expect a really big breakout this season. So it's a really good 1-2. After that is the problem. Jennings, I suppose, is going to start at the 3. It's not really deep, not really great after that. But the system's really good, so maybe you can plug and play some guys here should someone go down. But I worry if Debo were to miss extended time, or Ayuk were to miss extended time, or like we talked about, McCaffrey, Mitchell. So there's a lot of injury-prone players here. And then we move to the tight end room. Who you have one of the better tight ends in the league in George Kittle, and he's also injury prone. So there's a world where this offense kind of just falls off like flies. It happened toward the end of last year. It felt like they were just wheeling out anybody toward the end, and it's a worry here. But the tight end room is good. Horner, decent blocker. Lato, potential, hasn't clicked. But Kittle is obviously great, and while he's healthy, it's his spot, obviously. Defensive line, really good. Nick Bosa is a game wrecker. That's the best compliment I can give him. He's very, very good. Top end. Hargrave comes in from the Eagles, also really elite inside. 2 elite players there, 1-2. Armstead took a little bit of a step back last year, but he's young enough still, only 29, I think. So he can step back up here if he's healthy, and just be another really good piece in there. Drake Jackson probably going to have to come in and take a step up, but if Drake Jackson takes a step and Armstead is healthy, this is probably the best line, top 2, top 3 defensive line in the game. So the floor is really high, ceiling's really high here. Linebacker room, probably the best in the league. Not probably, it is the best. As simple as that, I guess. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, elite guys. Fred Warner, probably the most consistent coverage guy at linebacker in the NFL, and his run defense grade last year was really, really good. Greenlaw, really good run defender, and his pass grade, or his pass coverage went up quite a bit last year. It's not great, but it went up quite a bit last year. If he can take another step there, you'll have two elite linebackers who are elite at both both things in the game, and it'll be tough to do anything over the middle of the field. And then the secondary. Secondary's good, not great or not elite. When you think of San Francisco, but you know, it's kind of been this way for a year or two, and they don't seem to miss too much of a step. Ward, still really good at CB1. They bring in Isaiah Oliver from Atlanta. He had a really good couple of years there, hoping he can step in there and do well. Lenore, if he could step up, he didn't really have a great year last year, but if he could really step up, then you're looking at a really good corner combo. But he'll need to jump up. He didn't really have a great year last year. Safety duo is solid. Gibson is just solid all around. Hufanga makes those highlight plays, ball hawk kind of guy. I think the corner group or the secondary in general had top 5 most turnover worthy plays or whatever. So they like to ball hawk, but he loves to ball hawk, but he's kind of like Trayvon Diggs was. And, you know, he steps in and sometimes it's just not there. Deep pass over his head. It happens a lot. If he can get more consistent, just coverage wise, it's a big step. It's a big step for a young safety who, you know, flashes certainly. But let's jump into the schedule. It's not an easy one, not a super difficult one, but there are difficult stretches. So let's jump into it. At Pittsburgh, at the Rams to start the season is difficult. If Purdy's not fit, or if he is and he's just coming back and just getting used to it. I mean, Pittsburgh had a really good D last year. Rams don't have a great D. Really, it's a really not good defense, but they can score with anyone. So it's 2 different types of games to start the season, 2 difficult ones. Then the Giants at home, you expect to win. Arizona at home, I expect to win. And then Dallas at Cleveland, at Minnesota, Cincinnati before their bye. That's a really tough stretch. Dallas will come in with hoping to get revenge there. There's chip on their shoulder type game. And then you go to Cleveland, who have a really good roster. We'll see how Deshaun's playing. At Minnesota, who can put up points. And then Cincinnati, the Bengals, are very good. So it's a difficult stretch, a really difficult stretch. And, you know, if the 49ers are in groove by then, there'll be some good games here. But a very difficult stretch before the bye. Then you come out of the bye at Jacksonville, home to Tampa, at Seattle, at Philadelphia, home to Seattle again. So at Jacksonville's tough. They're going to be putting up points. Tampa Bay at home you feel is a win. And then you go to Seattle, go to Philadelphia, home to Seattle. So 2 games there sandwiched around the NFC champions from last year who rolled all over you in the title game, despite them losing their quarterback and stuff, or despite you losing your quarterback and stuff. But 49ers have been talking about it pretty much all offseason. I feel like every time I turn around, there's a quote about that game. So they'll be looking forward to that game, and it's sandwiched in between 2 games from Seattle. So it's a really tough stretch there, especially if you're over-focusing on the game in the middle against a really good team. So difficult stretch, and then you go at Arizona, home to Baltimore, at Washington, home to the Rams. There are some winnable games there, but it's not super easy. As we said, really tough stretches in there, some good teams, and if they come out slow, lose a game or 2 early, be difficult to get to this 11 number. So we're going under 10.5, plus 116 here for the San Francisco 49ers, and tomorrow we'll have a new team.